I paid for my stepdaughter's college and wedding. Now she says her real dad deserves the father-daughter dance. Hello Reddit I plus here. I've been holding this in for a while, but with everything that's happened, I need to let it out somewhere. Maybe this will help me process it. Maybe not, but here goes. I, 49M, married my wife Michelle when I was 31. She had a daughter from a previous relationship, Sandra, who was 4 at the time. Her biological father was never in the picture. Left Michelle when Sandra was just a baby. No child support, no birthday cards, no calls. Completely ghosted them both. When I first met Sandra, she was a shy, quiet little girl who wouldn't speak above a whisper to strangers. But after a few months, she warmed up to me. I remember the first time she reached out to hold my hand. It was at a petting zoo. That tiny hand in mine. I still remember the way it felt. Like something locked into place in my chest. Michelle and I got married the next year. I didn't push to adopt Sandra because her bio dad still had parental rights and never responded to legal notices. But in every practical way, I was her father. I took her to daycare, taught her to ride a bike, sat through countless dance recitals and school plays, helped her with homework, made her lunches. When she had her first heartbreak in high school, it was my hoodie she cried into. I gave everything to her because I wanted to. I loved her like she was my own blood. Sandra never called me stepdad. Not once. From around age 6, I was just dad. I paid for everything growing up. Michelle had some chronic health issues and couldn't work full-time, so I picked up extra shifts. We weren't rich, but we made it work. I saved what I could, slowly building up a college fund for Sandra. She had big dreams. First vet school, then psychology. She was smart, driven. I was proud of her. She got into a pretty pricey private college. We didn't qualify for much financial aid, so I paid. Every tuition bill, every textbook, every dorm deposit. I took out a second mortgage to make it work. Never once did I make her feel guilty about it. I was investing in her future. What else is a dad supposed to do? When she graduated, I cried, like, ugly cried. She hugged me and said, "I wouldn't have made it without you, Dad." That moment, I held on to it. Michelle passed away about a year later. Cancer. Fast, brutal, and completely unfair. Sandra was devastated and so was I. For a while, we leaned on each other. I thought we were closer than ever. We cried. We went through old photos. We planned a memorial together. I never would have imagined what came next. A few months after Michelle's passing, Sandra got engaged. She met a guy named Eric. Nice enough, kind of reserved. She asked if I'd help with the wedding costs. She knew I was still paying off her college loans, but I told her, of course, because again, that's what dads do. I paid for the venue deposit, covered the photographer, paid for her custom dress, which cost more than any car I've ever owned. I even paid to fly in Eric's family from out of state. The running tab was around $28,000, and I hadn't even blinked. I didn't care. I thought I was building memories, that this was my daughter's big day. Fast forward to a week before the wedding. We're having a small planning dinner, just the 3 of us, me, Sandra, and Eric. We're going over the timeline when she casually mentions, "Oh, and then after dinner, I'll have the father-daughter dance with my real dad." I laughed. I genuinely thought she misspoke. "You mean me, right?" She looked uncomfortable. "No, I meant my biological dad. His name's Tom. He's flying in from Nevada." I swear the room dropped 20 degrees. I said, "You're having a father-daughter dance with him? The guy who vanished when you were a baby?" She shrugged, not looking at me. "We reconnected a few months ago. I found him on Facebook. He was really apologetic. Said he always regretted leaving. We've been talking a lot. He's coming to the wedding. I just feel like it's something I need to do, for closure." Closure? I sat there stunned. Not angry yet, just hollow. Like the wind had been knocked out of me. "I've been your dad for 18 years, I said quietly. "I know," she said. "And I'm so grateful. I really am. This isn't about replacing you, it's just, I want that moment. I never got to have it with him." I didn't yell. I didn't storm out. I just nodded and said, "Okay." I went home and sat in my car for about an hour, just staring at the dashboard. And then I started making calls. I called the venue, the caterer, the DJ, the florist. All the final payments were still pending. I canceled every check, told them the financial support was being withdrawn. I didn't fight or make a scene. I just stepped back, like she asked. 2 days later, Sandra called, furious. "What the hell, Dad?" "You mean Tom?" I said. That shut her up for a second. "You're seriously pulling out of the wedding now?" "I was paying as your father," I said. "Apparently that title's already taken. Let him handle it." She started crying. Said I was being petty, said it was just one dance, that I was ruining her big day. I reminded her that I had given her everything, that I was the one who stayed up during her fevers, who worked overtime to send her to school, who held her when her mom died. And all I ever asked, was to be seen as her dad. Not a wallet, not a placeholder. She said it wasn't about money, and I told her neither was my love. The wedding still happened. Smaller scale, church basement, cheap buffet, Bluetooth speaker playlist. I wasn't invited. I saw a few photos online weeks later. There's one of her dancing with him, Tom. He looked smug. She looked satisfied, I guess. I haven't spoken to her since. She texted once. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you. I just needed to know him. I left it on red. I'm not writing this for sympathy. I don't even know what I want out of this post. Closure, maybe. Or just to tell my side of the story, because for 18 years, I gave everything to that girl. And in the end, I found out I was just a stand-in. A convenient, reliable, invisible man. Maybe I was never her real dad, but I showed up. And I don't regret loving her. I regret believing I was irreplaceable. It's been 8 months since the wedding. I've gone through every emotion in the book. Rage, grief, guilt, emptiness. I questioned myself 100 times over. Did I overreact? Did I let one moment destroy a relationship I spent nearly 2 decades building? Could I have just swallowed the insult and smiled through it? But here's the truth I keep coming back to. It wasn't about the dance. It was what that dance represented. I didn't just lose a seat at the wedding. I lost my place in her life. For months, there was radio silence. No calls, no texts, no birthday message in April. We used to have a tradition where she'd come over every Sunday, even after college. We'd watch a movie or cook together. That's gone now. She hasn't been to the house once since that night. Not once. The house still feels like hers in a way. There's a bookshelf in the living room with her favorite childhood books. The Secret Garden, Matilda, a tattered copy of Charlotte's Web I used to read to her at bedtime. Her old room is untouched. It still has glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling and a cracked photo frame on the nightstand of the two of us at the zoo, the day she first called me Dad. I tried to take it down once, but I couldn't. Not yet. I've seen her a few times around town. Once at a grocery store. She was with Eric. She spotted me and ducked down another aisle. Couldn't even look me in the eye. The second time was at the cemetery. I still visit Michelle's grave every month. Leave flowers. Talk to her quietly. Sandra showed up unexpectedly one Saturday, around the anniversary. We stood there in silence for a long time. She cried. I wanted to say something, anything, but all I could think about was how Michelle would have felt if she saw what had happened to us. Sandra finally broke the silence. I didn't mean to replace you, she said, tears running down her face. You didn't replace me, I said. You erased me. She flinched. I hated saying it, but it was the truth. I wanted to know where I came from. You came from a woman who gave everything she had, and a man who gave you everything he earned. She looked down, whispered, I miss you. And I almost reached out to hug her. But then I remembered every night I stayed awake wondering where I went wrong. Every time I looked at a photo of us and felt like a fool. And I stepped back. I miss who you used to be, I said. But I don't know who you are now. She nodded, didn't argue, and then she left, again. Since then, it's been quiet. I've started therapy. Something I probably should have done years ago, but I was too busy holding everything together. My therapist said something that stuck with me. Grief isn't always about death. Sometimes it's about mourning the version of love you thought was real. I've been trying to build a life again. I got back into woodworking, made a bench for the front porch, adopted an older rescue dog named Milo. He's half blind and snores louder than a lawnmower, but he follows me around like I hung the moon. A few weeks ago, I finally boxed up some of Sandra's old things. Not out of anger, just acceptance. I kept a few things. A stuffed penguin she used to sleep with. That old photo from the zoo. They're in a drawer, not on display anymore. I don't know if that makes me a bad person. I just needed the house to stop feeling like a museum of someone who no longer lives here. Eric messaged me last week. First contact since the wedding. Said Sandra's pregnant. I stared at the message for a long time. My first thought was, am I supposed to be happy for her? My second was, does she expect me to be grandpa now? He didn't ask for money or favors. Just said she was struggling emotionally and thought maybe I'd want to know. I haven't responded yet. I don't know if I will. Because the part that hurts the most isn't just that she hurt me. It's that when she made the biggest decisions of her life, she chose to write me out of them. And now she wants me to flip the page and pick up a new chapter, like nothing happened. But I can't. Not yet. Maybe someday I'll be able to look at her and feel something other than betrayal. Maybe someday, if she comes to me with honesty, not guilt, not obligation, I'll find it in me to open that door again. But until then, I'm learning how to be okay on my own. I gave 18 years of my life to a little girl who I loved like my own, and in return, I learned one of the hardest lessons of all. Love doesn't always come back the way you gave it.